We built 24 Claude Skills to replace the most tedious SEO tasks eating up our team's time. One of these skills cut our content brief creation from 7 hours to just 1. Another builds a refreshable client report with actual ranking and analytics data from a single prompt. They're all open source, need a couple of clicks to install, and built for every SEO task we used to write a new prompt for every single time. In a few minutes, you'll see these run live and what the workflow is behind them. Then we'll connect Claude to GA4 and build something that means you never have to write dozens of prompts again, ever. Let's go. A skill is basically a markdown file. It tells Claude exactly how to approach a repeatable task, as in which tools to call, in what order, and what to do with the output. Here's what's worth knowing. Skills are actually lighter on compute than long, verbose prompts because Claude isn't spending tokens figuring out what you want. It already knows what to do. Let's take a closer look at one of these skills. If, say, you want the content brief to always pull your specific competitors or always output in a format your team actually uses, you just go in and change it. That's the whole point of making these open source. They're a starting point, not a black box. Now, we didn't just build one skill. We built 24 skills our SEO team uses regularly. They sit across 4 areas: content, competitive research, AI search visibility, and strategy. Each one handles something you'd normally be writing a prompt for from scratch every single time. But here's what makes them different from just a collection of prompts. They're connected. There's one called SEO Plan that sits on top of everything else. When you run it, it figures out which other skills it needs, runs them, and builds the output from what comes back. We'll show you how it works in a few minutes. Now, you can install the whole library in one step. Open your Claude desktop version, go to Customize, Personal Plugins, Create Plugins, Add Marketplace. Type SE Ranking /SEO-Skills, hit Sync, and there they are, sitting there ready in every chat you open. The skills themselves are free, but they run on SE Ranking data, so you'll need to connect your account. If you don't have one yet, there's a link in the description. Now, let me show you a couple of these running. We'll start with the content brief. FYI, the last brief we built manually took us 7 hours, but this one takes around 90 seconds to run and about an hour to review. Let me show you why the gap is that big. When you run this skill, it does 7 things in sequence, things you normally do across 7 different tabs. It finds your top 5 competitors by shared keyword overlap, not who you think you're competing with, who you actually are. From there, it runs a keyword gap, keywords your competitors rank for that you don't, filtered automatically to informational intent, over 1,000 searches a month, difficulty under 40. It picks the best topic cluster from that gap and tells you why it picked it. Once it has a topic, it goes deeper. Full SERP analysis, AI overviews, people also ask, related keywords. Plus, it then actually reads the top 3 ranking articles and pulls the signals you'd need to match to compete. Then it looks at your own site, finds the pages you already have that could link to this new article, and tells you exactly where to put the anchors. It's important to note here that before it writes a single heading, it checks whether you already have a page targeting this keyword. If you do, it tells you to update it instead of creating something new. That's fewer bad decisions for you. Everything lands in a single file a writer can open and start from. Let's run it. Type /SEO-content-brief, specify the domain, topic, and country. Here's what comes back. Primary keyword, volume, difficulty, and intent. 3 title options, a meta description, then the full heading structure from H1 down to H3. Each section has what to cover and what to link out to. This part is worth looking at. These are the specific things the top 3 ranking articles don't cover. That's where you beat them. Existing pages on your site, the anchor text to use, and which section of the new article they belong in. You don't have to figure that out yourself. Then we have the brands LLMs currently cite for this topic, and the specific things you'd need to do to get cited alongside them. 7 hours down to 1. The hour that's left is reviewing this and handing it to a writer or a Claude agent. By the way, we're working on a fully automated version of our AI content creation workflow. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Now, remember the SEO plan from earlier? We said it calls the other skills. Let me show you what that looks like. Type /SEO-plan and specify the domain. You can see the skills firing one after another. It's figuring out what it needs, runs whatever skills are necessary, and then builds everything from what came back. I want to point out that every recommendation you're looking at in this roadmap came from real data, not Claude inventing something that sounds reasonable. Before we wrap up, I have one more thing to show you, and it's not a skill. It's a little something called live artifacts. A live artifact is basically a dashboard that Claude builds for you from real data and then keeps up to date. You don't run the skill again. You hit refresh whenever you want updated numbers, and you can export it as a PDF for a client. Now, we're going to use this prompt, which, by the way, you can copy from the page we linked in the description. But let's open it with the phrase, "Build me a live artifact." We're using SE Ranking's MCP, which is a 2-click install, and GA4 at the same time here. If you don't have GA4 connected yet, there's a link in the description to Google's setup guide. Or you can check out this video where we show you how we connected these MCPs step by step. Back to our video. Let's watch this thing get built live. So here's what we've got. A search visibility across ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, AI overviews, share of voice against your top competitors, and GA4 sessions from AI referral sources over the last 90 days compared against the 90 days before that. Very cool. Now, the hardest part with AI search data has always been quality. Is it real? Is it fresh? This will no longer be an issue. This setup is pulling from SE Ranking's live queries and your actual GA4 account. This also means you don't need Data Studio, N8N, or Make anymore. You can forget about spending long afternoons figuring out how to connect things, which can be a real nightmare. Now, here's the part I genuinely like most about this. This button, hit it, and everything updates with the latest data. I no longer need to create a new prompt to ask Claude to update it. By the way, building the artifact costs credits, but refreshing it doesn't. You can hit that button as many times as you want without touching your credit balance. The expensive part is the build. One build, roughly 18% of your 5-hour Claude Pro limit. After that, refreshes are free. Another thing, SE Ranking and GA4 data are talking to each other inside one dashboard. But you're not limited to one data source. You can connect as many MCPs as you need and build from all of them at once. If you want to see which ones are worth adding, that's exactly what we cover in our Best MCP Servers video. The link's in the description. Last thing, promise. If you need to share this with a client or your team, export it as a PDF. They get the same data without the login and Claude account needed. Just a clean report they can open. That's the full stack. This is exactly what we meant at the start of this video. In a year or two, you're not going to log in into a dashboard to do SEO. You'll have a stack of MCPs, a library of skills, and agents. Agents running workflows automatically. That's where this is going. Now, with the skills installed, your next question should be, which MCPs are actually worth connecting to them? We've tested the ones that move the needle for SEO. Watch that next in this video.